Ever feel like your teenager's been living in a different world and you're just not invited? You try talking, but it feels like you're speaking a different language, right? Believe me, you're not alone. Many parents are caught in the same frustrating cycle, and it's exhausting. But here's the thing. If you're struggling with your teenage son or daughter, it doesn't have to be a battle. With the right mindset and strategies, you can turn those intense moments into chances for growth for both you and your teen. Today, I'm going to share with you some proven methods to help create a peaceful, more productive conversation with your teenager. Trust me, it's not impossible. I know there's a lot of advice out there on parenting teens, but I didn't just grab a few random tips for this. I actually went deep into expert research and practical strategies straight from leading psychology books. These are proven, real-world methods, and with a little patience and practice, can actually make a difference. So, if you're ready to give them a shot, let's dive in. Number 1. Start with listening, not fixing. It's easy to think that as parents, we're there to fix everything. We want to swoop in and offer solutions the moment our teens express a problem, but that could actually drive them further away. The key to getting through to your teenager is simple, but at the same time can be hard. Just listen to what they have to say first. Research shows that teens want to feel heard more than anything else. In fact, listening can be the catalyst for them to open up, which builds trust and deepens your connection. Imagine your teen coming home from school, visibly upset. Instead of jumping into problem-solving mode, try asking, "You seem upset. Do you want to talk about it?" Then, let them share without interrupting. Not only does this show them you care, but it also gives them the space to express themselves, which is crucial during these years of emotional instability. Number 2. Don't take it personally. It's their development, not you. Here's something tough for every parent. Teenagers often push boundaries, not because they're rejecting you personally, but because they're in a phase of testing who they are. They're figuring out their own identity, and sometimes that means rejecting authority just to see what happens. In fact, psychologist Dr. Laura Markham explains that this is normal and that parents need to keep their emotions in check during these rebellious phases. If you don't take their behavior personally, it's easier to respond calmly without escalating the tension. And another notable figure, Dr. John Gottman, a psychologist who spent decades researching relationships, talks about boundaries in his book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. While it's about marriage, his research shows that giving someone autonomy without abandoning your role as a guide makes them feel respected. And teens, especially, crave that respect. He highlights the significance of this approach by stating, "I know it's tempting to try to control everything when your teen starts pushing back, but here's the secret. You have to let go of the need to control every little thing. They're growing, and their need for independence is natural, but hear me out. It's your job to help them do that in a healthy way. You need to give them space to express themselves, but also make it clear that certain boundaries are non-negotiable." Number 3. Lead by example. Actions speak louder than words. Here's something that might sting a little. Your teen is watching everything you do. If you want them to respect you, to make healthy choices, and to communicate better, guess what? You have to show them how it's done. You need to be the model of good behavior, because if you're yelling and being defensive, don't expect your teen to act any differently. According to Dr. Daniel Siegel, a clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA, in his book, The Whole Brain Child, teens are highly influenced by what they observe in their parents. If you want them to stay calm in stressful situations, you have to first show them how. If they see you calmly navigating challenges, they'll be more likely to mirror that behavior. Number 4. Be vulnerable and share your own struggles. Every so often, parents feel like they need to be perfect, but showing vulnerability can make you more relatable to your teen. Instead of pretending you've always had it all figured out, share your mistakes and the lessons you've learned from them. Let your teen know that you've faced struggles too. It doesn't make you less of a parent. It shows them that everyone makes mistakes and grows from them, which can spark empathy and open up deeper conversations. Number 5. Choose the right time to talk. Dr. Laura Markham, who is a clinical psychologist and the founder of AHA Parenting, a website dedicated to providing parents with tools for raising children with emotional intelligence and respect, emphasizes the importance of this by saying, "Ever try talking to a teenager while they're mid-argument with their friends? Or when they're glued to their phone? Not the best moment, right?" Timing is everything when it comes to having a productive conversation with your teen. Catch them when they're calm, and don't try to talk over their shoulder while they're distracted. Set aside a quiet time to connect. Hence, the best time to engage with your teen is when they're not emotionally overwhelmed. The ideal time is right after an activity when they're in a neutral mood. That's when their brain is more open to a rational conversation and you're less likely to hit resistance. Number 6. Avoid blame and accusations. Focus on the action, not the person. When our teens mess up, it's easy to point fingers and place blame, but constantly accusing them only leads to defensiveness and conflict. Instead, focus on the behavior or action, not the person. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me, you're always acting out," you could say, "I'm noticing that when you're upset, you get really quiet and withdrawn. Let's talk about what's going on, so we can find a way to get through this together." Focusing on the behavior allows you to address the issue calmly and with more empathy, rather than making your teen feel like they're personally being attacked. Number 7. Leverage positive reinforcement over punishment. Here's a tip you might not hear enough. Positive reinforcement works better than punishment. When your teen behaves well or follows through with responsibilities, praise them. According to Dr. John Gottman, author of Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child, positive reinforcement increases the chances of good behavior. Instead of focusing only on the negative, make a point to highlight what your teen does right. This encourages more of the same behavior and strengthens the parent-child bond. And before we wrap up with the final advice, here are a few bonus tips that can help you build better communication with your teenager. Avoid power struggles. Focus on the present moment instead of getting caught up in power struggles. When teens sense they are being pushed into compliance, they may resist even more. Use I statements. Using I statements instead of you statements can make a big difference in conversations with your teen by keeping the focus on your own feelings and reactions, rather than on their behavior alone. For example, instead of saying, "You're always on your phone and never spend time with the family," try saying, "I feel disappointed when I see everyone so focused on their screens during family time. It would mean a lot to me if we could all be more present with each other." Acknowledge their autonomy. Respecting a teen's growing autonomy is key to productive conversations. Allowing them to feel like they have control over their choices can foster trust and respect. Use humor to diffuse tension. Humor can break the ice and disarm tension. A lighthearted comment or funny observation can shift the mood in difficult conversations. Alright, now that we've covered those extra insights, let's get back to the main strategies. Here's the final piece of advice to help you build a stronger connection with your teenager. Number 8. Consistency is key, but stay flexible. It's easy to stick to one approach when something works, but consistency doesn't mean rigidity. Life changes, and so does your teen's development. Stay flexible in your approach and adjust to their evolving needs. For instance, if they're starting to show responsibility by getting homework done without reminders, praise that behavior, but don't forget to still check in regularly. Staying consistent in your involvement doesn't mean controlling every aspect. It means being present and supportive as they grow into their independence. Parenting a teenager can feel like walking on eggshells, but with patience, empathy, and these strategies, you can build a relationship that thrives on respect and understanding. Keep listening, set the boundaries, and don't forget to celebrate your teen's growth, no matter how small the steps. Alright, let's quickly recap these strategies for building a stronger connection with your teen. Here's the summary of our main points to keep in mind. Start by listening first and not jumping into fixing things. Remember, don't take it personally. It's part of their development. Lead by example because actions speak louder than words. Be real and share your own struggles. Choose the right time for important talk. Use positive reinforcement rather than punishment. Focus on actions, not the person. Stay consistent but flexible to meet their changing needs. And for a few bonus pointers, avoid power struggles, stay in the moment. Use I statements to avoid sounding critical. Respect their autonomy by letting them have some control. Use humor to help ease tense conversations. By keeping these tips close and always trying your best to evolve as a person and a parent, you'll be on your way to better, more productive conversations with your teen, which in turn creates better understanding and compassion. Thanks for sticking with me until the end. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we've got plenty more practical, psychology-backed advice coming your way to tackle real-life challenges. Let's work together to make life a little easier and more fulfilling. See you in the next video.